Hey everybody, it's Blind Run with Son of a Tech once again. In real life, I go by Matthew. Good to see everybody here. Thanks for stopping in. Stick Shark, Mr. Tick Beast, Kielbasa. Oh wow, let's see. I had a bunch of other ones in here. Pure Crypto Boss, Crypto Mikel. Make sure you guys click his name and go sub to his channel. Son of a Rabbit Tech. And C-Dub, as well as Rogelio. Welcome everybody. So today, we are going to be taking a look at a bunch of different crypto YouTubers, Twitter profiles, etc., and use a tool called Profit, spelled P-R-O-P-H-I-T, to determine who is the best. Now, a KOL, which is in the title, stands for Key Opinion Leader. This came about, I think, once crypto influencers in particular started getting a bad rap, and a lot of marketing companies wanted to basically rebrand the face of influencers, because in a lot of cases, influencers, especially in crypto, have a pretty bad name for, pushing cryptocurrencies, rug pulling people, selling miners that aren't profitable, selling lottery miners, taking payment in crypto, and then talking about that crypto, and then selling that crypto after they talked about it. All these sorts of things really gave them a bad rap. And then you started seeing, common things from some KOLs were like, videos like "I'm not an influencer," etc. And the fact is that they're influencers. It's just they changed the name to KOL, which means Key Opinion Leader, so they could try to rebrand and trick everybody. So I don't know if it's working or not, but that's the new term, is KOL. That's where that's coming from. Now, before we get into that, I have a few articles. I thought this one would be pretty interesting. It's how to use ChatGPT for crypto strategy signals and sentiment. Let's get this out real quick, out of the way. So, apparently you can use ChatGPT for this. So it says, in the fast-paced world of cryptocurrency, staying ahead of the market trend is not just an advantage, it's a necessity. With thousands of coins ever shifting prices and global economic factors influencing value in real time, crypto markets can be overwhelming to monitor and analyze. Traditional methods often fall short in speed, depth, and insight. Enter ChatGPT, an AI-powered assistant that transforms how traders and investors engage with data. ChatGPT helps users process vast amounts of information with clarity and confidence, from decoding complex charts to summarizing market sentiment. This article explores how to use ChatGPT for crypto analysis, from generating market insights to crafting personalized trading strategies using historical data and real-time sentiment cues. Whether you're a beginner experimenting with your first trade or a seasoned investor managing a diverse portfolio, AI tools like ChatGPT are rapidly becoming indispensable in crypto investing. A quick side note here is, yesterday we took a look at a video, thanks to a chatter, discussing OpenAI's requirement to now keep record of all chats. So I advise you very strongly to be very, very careful with what kind of information you're putting into ChatGPT, because it can be subpoenaed by the court. And the reason the government is requiring ChatGPT to keep records is, well, their full intent to do so. So putting personal financial information into ChatGPT is probably not a great idea. While the government and ChatGPT or OpenAI themselves may not use this in a nefarious way, eventually, like every database in the world, it will be hacked and the information will be leaked. So don't, plan the next murder out on ChatGPT, because you'll probably get caught there. And don't put personal financial information in there, because eventually it will get cracked and stolen, and your identity will end up getting stolen. Now, I'm sure they're all going to back this up, with some fear mongering surrounding taking away some of your rights to give you better security. Surrounding these topics make it harder for people to steal your identity by, I don't know, doing what? Creating a centralized database named after an all-seeing eye from Lord of the Rings, controlled by a dark figure named Sauron for whatever reason. So we have that to look forward to, But other than that, I would like to say there have been a lot of people talking to me recently about designing, in-house AI bots to do just this sort of thing, whether it is creating it to essentially help you trade with crypto or your personal finances. This has been something that's been going around a lot, and we'll have to see from there. Toxicano is saying, is President Trump okay? I don't know. Is something going on with Trump? Do we need to look it up? Hold on. Let's go ahead and Google it before we get into this. President Trump. Is something crazy going on that I'm missing? Or is this just for fun? Or are you just saying that for fun? I don't see any live updates. I guess Musk apologized. But nothing crazy going on with Trump right now. So let's get back into ChatGPT and crypto trading. So ChatGPT, developed by OpenAI, is a language model trained on massive data sets. Capable of interpreting, summarizing, and generating human-like text based on input prompts. It understands patterns in data and can translate numbers, events, and sentiment into actionable insights. For crypto traders and analysts, ChatGPT can help with extracting insights from technical indicators and trading metrics, summarizing sentiment from social media and crypto news, drafting and refining crypto trading strategies, performing qualitative risk assessments and scenario planning, and generating conceptual price prediction scenarios based on current data and trends. However, ChatGPT cannot predict future prices with real-time accuracy. Any forecasts or scenarios it offers are purely hypothetical and should not be interpreted as investment advice. Even if ChatGPT doesn't replace live data feeds or pro-level analysis tools, it boosts productivity, enhances clarity, and complements other technical and analytical platforms. So right here, we have a person that created a bot using ChatGPT, and it says the above is an example of a user who asked ChatGPT to create a crypto trading bot that places trades when relative strength index, RSI, divergence trend lines are broken and exits on hidden divergence or 5% profit. Using Bitcoin USDT on a 15-minute chart with a directional movement index, DMI for short, above 20. DMI is a technical analysis indicator that helps identify whether an asset is trending and the strength of that trend. Before prompting ChatGPT, identify what you want to achieve. Are you trying to determine if it's a good time to enter the market? Are you researching a specific coin or trend? Or are you designing a new trading algorithm? Clear, outcome-focused objectives result in sharper, more relevant AI responses. The effectiveness of ChatGPT is largely driven by the quality of your input. Be specific and concise, and there are some example prompts here. Now, I have always said that the most important thing that will be coming, in the future. Hold on, we're having some. There we go. Having some technical difficulties there. The most important thing, I think, for, job security in the future is going to be knowing how to ask AI to get the proper answer. So for the past few years, or the past couple decades, ever since the invention of Google, one of the biggest indicators of a good IT professional has been how well can they get the output of the correct answer from Google to solve the problem. And I do think eventually that is what will be, effectively what you utilize AI for, is getting whoever is the best at putting in the right input to get the correct answer to solve a problem from AI are going to be, very beneficial. Is going to be very beneficial in the job market, right? It gives you some examples of prompts here, and then it goes on. It says the above script looks for strong buying opportunities when the market is oversold and momentum starts to shift upwards. It checks if the price has recently hit a low momentum MACD is improving and RSI is very low. Then it signals a potential bounce by placing a buy order. So you can analyze the technical indicators. ChatGPT can break down the indicators like RSI, Bollinger Bands, Fibonacci retracements, moving average, convergence, divergence, and more. Although it cannot access real-time charts, you can input data such as BTC RSI is 72 and MACD just signaled a bullish crossover with increasing volume. What does this imply? ChatGPT will interpret the technical conditions and provide a logical explanation for what those signals may mean. Crypto markets are highly influenced by sentiment, and fear, hype, and FOMO can drive price action more than fundamentals. ChatGPT can help assess the emotional tone of the market by analyzing user-provided summaries or scraped content. Quote, summarize the market sentiment for Doge based on X posts and Reddit comments from the past 24 hours. And we're going to actually talk about a tool that you can use right now that will help you determine sentiment a lot better, I think, than ChatGPT, by the way. So we'll get into that in a second, but that is something to pay attention to. And I guess you would really want to use, frankly, I think as opposed to ChatGPT in this particular case for market sentiment surrounding individual cryptocurrencies, I would presume using Grok would be, which is, obviously X's form of ChatGPT, would probably get you better results just because of the access to the Twitter data that Grok has. So I would recommend using Grok for sentiment over ChatGPT, just a little personal thing there. So while ChatGPT isn't designed to perform statistical backtesting, is it good at conceptual validation? You can describe a strategy and ask it to walk through how that strategy would be performed under different historical conditions. So you can do that, a backtest, a moving average crossover strategy on ETH from 2020 to 2023 with a 5,200-day setup. ChatGPT will simulate the outcomes as in the image above based on historical assumptions and explain the strengths and weaknesses. Still, for numerical accuracy, this should be cross-checked using actual backtesting software. Predictive analysis is where ChatGPT could shine as a strategic advisor. Traders can input hypothetical scenarios and request implications. So, what would happen to Bitcoin if US inflation spikes to 8% and interest rates rise by 1.5%? Now, my understanding too is Trump was trying to get the interest rates cut down to 1%. Was that right? Today, I don't know what, I forget. I didn't look at what happened there yet all of the way, but I need to go research that, I guess. So it gives you an idea here. It says if US inflation spikes to 8%, then Bitcoin could face short-term downward pressure because of high interest rates, tighter monetary policy. And this is even though Bitcoin is seen as a hedge against inflation. So there you go. Now, that gives you a bunch of examples in this article. I'll link this over to you guys. But the quality of your prompts defines the quality of insights you'll get. So it gives you some well-rounded, tailored activities for traders and technical analysis and on-chain sentiment, etc. So just an example would be generate a weekly summary for Bitcoin, ETH, and Solana, including price action, volume changes, and major news catalysts. Now, just like everybody is now aware of the Bitcoin halving cycle, which creates an interesting scenario where, because everybody is aware the halving cycle is not hitting the same euphoric phases that we have seen in previous cycles, at least as of yet, I think the same thing could happen because of AI in general, meaning if everybody's feeding this kind of information, you know, into AI and getting similar, if not exactly the same answers, and they are making the same market moves based off of that, then the market moves can't come true because everybody's doing the same thing, right? Like this is just the way things will function. It will behave differently just out of nature of too many people being aware of it, right? And so that's something to keep in mind in general. NK, good to see you in chat, by the way. Now, it does say there's some benefits as far as accessibility. There's no coding experience needed. Speed, you can generate comprehensive analysis, strategy templates, or summaries in seconds. Customization allows you to tailor every response to your specific need. Adaptability, ChatGPT can shift between fundamental, technical, and sentiment-based perspectives, and automation. So there are different integrations you can utilize as far as, and I think you can even integrate it into like API pools and et cetera, right? Now, it does say there's some limitations, like no real-time data, so you'll have to type that in yourself. It's not a licensed financial advisor, but, you know, most of the KOLs you're watching on YouTube are not financial advisors either. Prompt quality matters, so the AI is only as good as the input it receives, just going back to my previous statement about how important it's going to be to know what to put into an AI to get the correct answer out. And no quantitative accuracy checks, so it cannot verify data correctness without validation from external sources or live APIs. Now, of course, custom AI systems are going to have this information. There will be probably even subscription-based cloud versions of AI that will be able to pull that live data at some point. I'm not sure that that's available right this second. I am aware of some private ones, obviously, that do this. At least with the stock market, I'm aware of 2 people working on that with the stock market. In crypto specifically, I'm not aware of a private one yet, at least at scale. I'm sure there's some people working on it, but if anybody knows of any, please let me know. I'd definitely be interested in checking those out, right? So you can integrate it with other crypto tools. So you can basically utilize CoinGecko, CoinMarketCap to supply ChatGPT with current market stats via manual input or APIs. Obviously, I think utilizing the APIs are going to be the fastest way to do that. And once again, like the quality of your input of figuring out how to give that information to ChatGPT in and of itself is an answer that you'll need to get. There are charting platforms like Extractor, RSI, MACD, and other indicators from TradingView and CoinGlass, Glassnode, CryptoQuant, and all of that. And it names some others like Lunar Crush and etc. for on-chain sentiment tool analysis, and then automation tools like Zapier. And allows you to make like Python bots to trigger ChatGPT workflows based on alerts or price actions. And then some advanced plugins extend ChatGPT's capabilities with plugins like Link Reader to fetch real-time info directly. So that's kind of an idea surrounding it. I'd like to hear y'all's thoughts and opinions on it. I think everybody's aware of it. The problem, obviously, with AI in its current phase, right, is that unfortunately, it's not always extremely accurate. It's very input dependent, and you can get yourself in a lot of troubles, right? And so that's just something to think about. I don't know why I keep having dying stuff here, but it looks like the stream's still going. It's just the chat dies on my Streamlabs, which is kind of weird. Anyways, I thought it was an interesting article. I don't know. Pure Crypto Boss says he used Grok for his Pionex bots. In 1 second, let me talk to Bubba here. He's getting excited about Fortnite, but I was like, hey, I'm streaming. So, It is what it is. You'll have a little bit of background noise, but I'm sure everybody's used to it at this point. Everybody in my chat's probably got some sort of kiddo running around. The next thing that's really cool that we'll talk about before we get into the KOL stuff, is that Micron begins shipping HBM4 memory for next-gen AI systems. So if you guys aren't aware, there's basically, two different types of memory. There's GDDR and then there's HBM. Now, HBM has historically been the faster option, more for enterprise as well, for memory. It started very early on in some AMD consumer line desktop grade GPUs, and then eventually moved, obviously all to the enterprise server workload GPUs. And now we're on, so everybody's aware, for the 50 series now on NVIDIA, we're up to GDDR7, which has been comparable to HBM 2 and 3. And then, of course, HBM's got to be faster, so Micron has started shipping its latest high bandwidth memory, HBM4, to key customers developing next generation AI platforms. The new HBM4 36 gigabyte 12 high stacks offer major improvements in performance and power efficiency aimed at accelerating AI workloads in data centers. Built on Micron's 1 beta DRAM process and advanced 12 high packing, HBM4 delivers more than 2 terabytes a second of bandwidth per memory stack through a 2048-bit interface. As you guys know, I like big buses, and I cannot lie. This is pretty awesome. So this translates into over 60% higher performance compared to previous generation HBM3E. Power efficiency is also improved by more than 20%, helping reduce energy consumption in large-scale AI systems. These improvements are critical as AI models grow in size and complexity, driving demand for faster and more efficient memory. Micron's HBM4's performance, higher bandwidth, and industry-leading power efficiency are a testament to our memory technology and product leadership, blah, blah, blah. This is Raj, of course, over at Micron Cloud's memory business unit. It is already sampling with multiple customers and is positioned to support the next wave of AI accelerators and large language model deployments across industries, including healthcare, finance, and transportation, as well as obviously finance includes crypto. And so I'm sure a lot of crypto trading is going to get done through AI, right? The first products featuring HBM4 memory include NVIDIA Vera Rubin platform and AMD Instinct MI400. So those are the two that will include it. Obviously, NVIDIA has been killing it with the AI. This is primarily, though, due to CUDA support and not necessarily NVIDIA's hardware performance. I think right now, I know Vulkan is kind of starting to get out there in OpenLLM. I think once that gets out there in the open source side of things, and then you get AMD competition on the memory side of things with the HBM4. I think AMD could position itself a little bit better on the AI side of things. It did beat Intel to market with their AI chips here recently. I think they're SoCs, which I don't know if we've covered on this channel, but those are pretty interesting. And we'll have to see where it goes from there as well. But yeah. All the AI is mostly based on CUDA. Yeah, and that's like PyTorch and all that. Like I said, I think OpenLLM's beta Vulkan support just came out last week or something, and I think it will be a big deal. Now, if you guys are looking for new miners, well, unfortunately for GPUs, there's not much going on, but SRB Miner did release something 10 hours ago. Version 2.9.1. Huge shout out to Doctor for just keeping things up to date. He's really like the last standing GPU, CPU mining dev, it feels like. I mean, I know IEDoc is around with BZ Miner, but he's really slowed down on releases. I mean, let's let's face it, who was working on Caspa right out the snap? It was, IE Doc from BZ Miner. I had reached out to him and said, hey, check this project out. He had support like right off the bat, solo node mining with BZ Miner. We got Stratums from One More B Smith developed very early on. I mean, that was all being done within the Son of a Tech community. And frankly, I don't think that IE Doc probably ever has to develop jack shit ever again. Let's just put it that way, right? Let's be honest. So we should be grateful for anything we get from them at this point. But SRB Miner, back to SRB Miner, he released performance efficiency improvements for SHA-3X on AMD and NVIDIA GPUs, and performance efficiency improvements for dual mining fish hash and SHA-3X on AMD RDNA and NVIDIA GPUs, and some minor bug fixes here and there. So really awesome to see, SRB Miner still ticking away. And Mr. Ticket B says 3% on Atari sucks, though. I didn't mind it. The thing is like, when you're the only software on the block, you can get away with higher rates, right? This is why, unfortunately, as far as like bit streams go, it's not uncommon to see like 15 to 30% fees. Which obviously is extremely disappointing, but the problem is there's no competition. And then from the miner developer perspective, right, a lot of these coins that they're adding support for, I mean, how long has it been since we've had, a project really that's been sustainable to any level? And so they're trying to get in, get out, I assume, for the most part, right? So I get it. It's like, it really does come down to supply and demand. And if there's no competition, then there's no reason to drive down fee percentages, right? I mean, that is what it is at the end of the day. And so what are you going to do? Other than that, let's see. So let's go ahead and get into the meat of the topic here, which is a really fun one. I found this website. Maybe you guys have heard of it. It's called marketprofit.com. Profit spelled P-R-O-P-H-I-T. And this one's great. So what it is it's a data and analytics platform that provides unique and actionable intelligence to the retail and institutional crypto community. And they are the first and only platform that quantitatively and objectively scores and ranks financial bloggers who post messages in social media about cryptocurrencies. Their scores are not based on popularity or other common social metrics like shares, likes, followers, etc. Popularity doesn't necessarily translate into performance. Instead, investors care about one thing: track and record performance. So they identify those messages posters whose crypto calls hypothetically generated both positive and negative returns. This allows users of our platform to quickly and automatically identify the smart money market profits in social media. And there is like a leaderboard. If you guys want to check it out, you can come in here and go to like, well, maybe not it's not this one. That's all sign up stuff. I think there's a leaderboard in here. User dashboard. No, that's just login. You don't have to log in for a lot of this, if I recall. Yeah. So here it is. Yeah. So you can get, for Bitcoin, and then there are like APIs and stuff you can plug in. It's a really cool tool. And then I thought we'd play around with it for fun, right? So, and I did pull myself up here. And if you have been following me and my moves over the past 3 months, you would have a return of 59.4%. And the year to date, though, is down 3.81%. I have a 40% win-loss ratio. My largest up day was 26%, and my biggest down day was negative 6.5%. So the average return of winners is 8%, and the average return of losers is 4.3%. So I'd say I'm doing pretty good. I'm pretty proud of myself here, not gonna lie. I think a lot of this, though, was like the comments about like shorting Pi definitely helped with that over the past couple months. Not gonna lie. What's really cool is you can do this by all, right? So if you have somebody that, like, let's say you're on Twitter and they're like, I've been talking about Caspa since the beginning. Well, now you have a way to prove it. So you can go to this website, pull up like my user account. You can pick the ticker that they're talking about, right? In this particular case, Caspa. And you can see that I started talking about it on November 26, 2022. And if you guys were in locals, I was talking about it over there, even earlier, or in like I think it was Rocket Chat even at that time. So very early into essentially talking about Caspa on my public Twitter profile, and you can come here and prove it, which is super neat, right? And so you can also see, when I first started talking about Alephium or whatever. I think I was talking about Alephium earlier than 2024. I can probably prove that, at least on YouTube, but you can see that. You can see what kind of returns it generated from me talking about it. So, if you would have gotten into Alpha or Alephium when I said to, you'd have a 23% gain. If you got into Caspa the first time I talked about it, you would have this 13% gain, right? And so on and so forth. It was actually a lot more than that from the first time I talked about it, but I think for whatever reason, it depends on how it's tracking it. I think it wasn't listed on any major exchanges at that time. Ravencoin, you can go through there. You can see the dip off, the loss of 2.4% since the first time I talked about it, or the average cumulative return. So really cool tool. And then, if you guys were following, disappointment, but I'm going to have to call them out here. If you were following Red Panda Mining, and we'll go look at a few. Obviously this tool isn't perfect, but if you were to follow Red Panda Mining instead of me, this year you would be down 38%, okay? And so I just wanted to make that clear. Like, if you're following Red Panda's moves instead of mine, you're losing money. You know what I mean? So, but he is the better YouTuber, so it is what it is. It does say his win-loss ratio is pretty similar to mine, 41%. But his biggest up day was only 5%, and his biggest down day was 38.5%. So there you go. Yeah, let's check out Retro Mike in chat. I gotta go look up your Twitter profile, dude. Hold on. I don't know it off the top of my head. Let me go grab it because I know I'm following you, so it'll be easy to find. The Retro Mike, that's right. Okay, so let's look at Retro Mike in chat. With that pigeon coin, it might be pretty difficult, dude, over here. So let's go ahead and take a look. Yeah, so very similar performance. You're on par with Red Panda Mining. Cumulative return would have been negative 38% over the year, with a win-loss ratio of 46.6%. Your biggest up day was 4.52%, and your biggest down day was negative 15%. Let's see if Pigeon's in here. Pigeon is in here. Yeah, so, you had a couple really bad days from Pigeon, but then, it came back up. So, there you go. There's the Pigeon play on that. And we can do Crypto Mikkel as well, or mine something too. Mine some 10. Let's go look at that. To be honest, the only reason my numbers look really good right now is because I called that short on Pi at like $1. Cumulative return is negative 40%. But your year to date, you're beating me there. Mind something. Your year to date is 13%. Your win-loss ratio is 32%. Biggest up day is 14%, and your biggest down day is negative 18%. Mind something's numbers looking pretty good. Smoke. Let me see if I can find. It's at. Hold on. I had followed you. I thought. There it is. Right? Nope. What is your Twitter again? It's something else. It's not Smoke, is it? Give me your Twitter again. I don't remember it. While we wait, let's do Crypto Mikkel. I can find it. There we go. Yeah. Let's see how. So far, I'm the only positive one here. I don't know, guys. I'm just saying. I don't know what's going on with y'all's calls. Oh, dang, dude. Man, you guys need to go follow Crypto Mikkel on Twitter. His cumulative return is 62% with a year-to-date of 2.4%. Win-loss ratio 53% with his biggest update being 30% and his biggest down day being negative 6%. So make sure you guys are following Crypto Mikkel for the best performance of so far, according to Market Profit over here. Make sure you go follow him. Get wrecked. I know, you beat me, dude. Damn it, dude. I was getting all cocky. I was like, yeah, look at my returns compared to these other KOLs. Don't know what they're doing. Let's see if I got... Is this right? It's this, Smoke, right? I found it. All right. So, Smoke, you're down 29%, almost 30% cumulative, with the win-loss ratio at 37.84%, biggest up day 34%, and the biggest down day of negative 34%. So there you go. And then we gotta do Geek of All Trades, right? Let's look. Let's look, sir. Oh man, another positive over here. Geek of All Trades, not as good as Crypto Mikkel, not as good as me, quite, but cumulative return of 14.8% with a win-loss ratio of 50%. Biggest up day is 13.46% and biggest down day, negative 0.2. Looks like a lot of talk of Caspa, Solana. When did you first talk about Caspa? Let's see, all. Oh, it doesn't show. I guess it just shows from here. So you were kind of already talking about it while it was already up, I guess. Yeah, I think that's what that means. Let's see. Got some Solana up in here. Started talking about Solana, around 2024 with that pump up there? Oh, you are a KOL, sir. So we're gonna go grab that Twitter profile. I'm gonna share everybody that's positive. That's what we're gonna do. I gotta get it out here. Oh, we could just copy a bunch out of there, huh? There we go. Easy. Got it. Goat created that platform. All right. So do you guys want to look anybody else up? Let's see. Who else could we look up here? Everybody's going to want to know what Vosk is, right? Voskcoin. Voskcoin is up 6% with the win-loss ratio of 52.94%. Biggest up day 7.27% and biggest down day negative 4%. There you go. Oh, Rabid Mining. That's a good one. It's at Mining Rabid, right? Mining Rabid. Rabid like that. Yeah, I was right. Got it. So Rapid Mining is up 18, almost 19%. Year to date cumulative return 1.23%. Win-loss ratio is pretty good, I think, right? Bigger number better, 61%. And the biggest up day is 6.52%, with the biggest down day is negative 4.82%. Let's see what stuff he's talking about, right? Yeah, so he's got Bell's Coin, Bitcoin, Byte, Doge, Hex, Caspa, Mars, Maker, Raptorium, Trump, and XRP. There you go. So yeah, Smoke, basically, and the way, and I talked about it before. So the way this tool works is, oh, I had it up here. Read how it works. Here we go. So it essentially, so it doesn't base it off of likes, shares, or anything. It just goes and it sees, you know, if you are saying like it's a buy or a sell, right? So if you said something like short and then you put the ticker in, and it only bases it off of tickers from the best I can tell. So like if you spelled Caspa out and didn't put Cas ticker in, I think maybe it doesn't count, and all that stuff. And I don't think it tracked Zeph either, Snake. But it says all their scores are based, not based on popularity, because it doesn't translate into performance. So they identify the messages posters whose crypto calls hypothetically generated positive and negative returns. And that's what they base it off of, right? So if you posted and then the coin went up and you posted about it in a positive manner, then it will clock that in as a positive return, right? Retro says it. No, Retro, it tracked Pigeon. Look, it did. It did track Pigeon. I saw it. Look at that right there. Pigeon. PGN right there. That's not a real coin. Come on. Crypto Galaxy CC. Okay. Let me check it for you. So Crypto Galaxy, I don't know who this is, I'm going to be honest, but Crypto Galaxy CC's cumulative return is down 31% over the cumulative. However, year to date, he's up 37%. So if you started following him in January, things are looking pretty good. Win-loss ratio 49%, with the biggest up day being 13% and the biggest down day being 16%. So that's this guy right here. So overall, not looking too good, but for the past year, maybe he's learning and getting a little bit better. Cryptos are us. Yeah, we can look that. I don't know. Is Crash the actual name? I gotta do @ by the way. Here we go. Cryptos are us. Whew. I would not follow these guys. Dear Lord. Who is this? Yeah, guys. I don't know. Mr. Ticket Beast. Down 99%, brother. Cumulative returns. Don't listen to this account. Is this your account, Ticket Beast? Check. Is it just @ Crash Snake? Let's do it. I don't see Crash, so you're gonna have to give me the actual Twitter name, dude, for it to work. I don't know who you're talking about. Oh, it's Cryptos RSUS. Okay, let me get it for you guys. You guys wanted to check this one out, which is this Twitter profile. Does this look correct? 281,000 followers. Cumulative return negative 45%. Year to date down 35%. Pretty much down across the board. A win-loss ratio of 46%. Now, he did have a really big up day, a single one of 46%, but a big down day of 20.51%. I don't know. It does have a top list, Rabbit. So if you go, son of a rabbit tech, if you go here to the home, it gives you the top list. Now it does do it by ticker. But I think down here it has the market profit 50. It gives you kind of a breakdown of effectively, I guess, positive posts versus like negative posts, right? And then it gives you a social sentiment chart here. Lots of good info at marketprofit.com. Top 10 sentiment buzz with Meta being at the top, Coin, Zeus, Mask, Aura, Sol, Nvidia, XRP, Tesla, Moto. So apparently this also tracks regular stocks as well. So not just cryptocurrency. Crash Clay. All right, let's go look at Crash Clay. Everybody's just getting free shout outs today too on the channel. See if it'll load. I'm not seeing any. Oh, it's suspended, Snake. They violated X rules, and therefore I cannot get that data for you. Crash Clay 69 has been suspended. Violated. Well, yeah. The winner was Mikkel today. Right. With that 62%, sir. That's where it's at, my friends. I think this tool is awesome, man. This tool is so good, and I think that it allows you to go, find people. Altcoin Daily is a big one, right? We could do like altcoin daily, down 3% cumulative. And for the year, we could do, Ben Armstrong would be a fun one, right? If he even has one anymore, I don't even know. I think X. Okay, that's it. Strong's X. Here we go. So BitBoy is down 30% cumulatively, but year to date, he's looking pretty good, up 41%. Yeah, I'll post this for you. It's also down in the description, guys. There you go. Yeah, everybody needs to go follow Crypto Mikkel and start following his trades. Just do whatever he tells you to do. But now that he knows that, don't do it. Don't do it. Now that he knows it, we're in trouble, because he's gonna capitalize on that. We got to be careful. I got my eye on you, Crypto Mikkel. I got my eye on you, sir. Okay, I'm paying attention. We all come back next week. It's like negative 1,000%, and he posted a token. He's like, go get, I don't know, fart goat. And then everybody gets fart goat. And then he dumps it on everybody. And then we're like, damn, that one play. This is just a fun tool. I thought we would go over it with you guys. I think it's fun. I think I'm doing pretty well though, you know. I think we're doing pretty good. IoT API. Can I pull Matt up? Yeah, I can. Let's see how he's doing. Down 0.22%. Not that bad. What does he even talk about? Alephium and NVIDIA. Well, those are easy ones not to lose on. Easy ones not to lose on. I mean, obviously, if you're talking positively about everything, you're going to be negative. I mean, that's just the way it is, right? I think at the end of the day, and if you're talking a lot and positively about a lot of different projects, there's going to be some massive losers that are going to make it extremely difficult. And coming out of the bear market, you know, it's going to look more difficult as well. I already tweeted at Red Panda. I think I did. I screenshotted it. I said, dang, my Twitter KOL returns are solid. And then I said, following Red Panda will lose you money. Don't do it. Yeah, so I thought I would share that with you guys. Speaking of, do you guys want to talk about a new coin? WTF is Evo AI. This one's interesting. I saw this one. I started so many wars, Scott. Come on. I'm at war. I've been at war with Ergo in the past and their entire community. I've been at war with Flux. I've been at war with Caspa. I've been at war with Voscoin. I've been at war with... I can't think... It's harder for me to think of people that I haven't been at war with. At one point or one time or another in the past. And if I haven't been at war with someone yet, I probably will be in the future. And that's just because it is what it is. I'm going to say what I think. And sometimes people just don't like, some people can't handle that well. Some people handle it really well. I try to always also separate the, like, what they're doing in regard to crypto and then like everything else as much as I possibly can. Right. Like I've never been like super, like when Ergo corrected everything or whatever, I still talk to everybody. I mean, I even reached out to Shai from Caspa and gave him his, condolences over the stuff that went down with Caspa. Told him I hope he finds, finds something new. I really honestly, I don't get too upset about it, but I like to play that I get really upset about it. And I like to play things up every once in a while. And I do think that there are valid things to stand your ground on too. You know what I mean? Like, I do think that there are some things that I'll just stand my ground on, and I think more people need to do that. Like, people get scared of other people being mad at them, and so they won't stand their ground on their principles. And that is what's really driving our society into the dirt. One is that people are scared of standing up for what they believe in. And like a follow up to that is frankly, I think that in a lot of cases, people just don't have principles and morals anymore either. Right. I think, so Son of a Rabbit Tech says amplifying negative emotions helps nobody. I mean, so it depends on your interpretation of that, right? Like, if somebody is scamming somebody, right, and you have a negative emotion towards that, then yes, a negative emotion is important. Like, ignoring negative emotions because they're always bad is kind of bullshit. I kind of disagree with that statement. It's like, the fact of the matter is like, life's about duality and balance. You have to have the negative to have the positive. You know? That's just is what it is. But let's get into it. WTF is Evo AI, right? So Evo AI just popped up on mining pool stats. It started out strong with a lot of hash rate, but is dropped off a lot. It's on our plant and then a few other smaller pools like that I haven't heard of, like, I don't know. And then it's on superpool.icu, get to mine, iTurk mining, which I've heard of, evepool, and coin-miners.info. It currently has 2.95 gigahash. I don't know what that means in Evo hash, so hopefully we're going to figure that out today. No current listing price as of yet, but maybe we can find it. The website is going to be evoai.top, so another AI-based coin. And it says it has been launched. It is running smoothly, so get in before it's too late. There's a countdown for 11 days on the main page. I have no idea what that means. Let's see what the splash page tells us about the cryptocurrency. It says Evo AI is leveraging the best minds in blockchain technology with a mature ecosystem and progression driven by a dedicated foundation team. We aim to build a global payment platform that cryptocurrency is not only for tech-savvy people. We wish Evo AI will be used widely in every city in the world. It was launched as an open source cryptocurrency on the 31st. I don't know what this says. Friday, 2025. Some wild typos there. It feels like this was written by AI. I'm not going to lie. It says Evo AI is a decentralized and secure masternode network. So I will have to say masternode networks in general have not had the greatest of track records right now. So you want to be extremely careful. That is a red flag as far as newly launched cryptocurrencies go. It's just the nature of the beast, right? And they can be really great to mine. So masternode cryptocurrencies are incredibly good to mine early on and then dump onto the market for the people wanting to build the masternodes. They typically are really bad for the people building the masternodes because they lock up their cryptocurrency and then the dev and the miners dump on them. So masternode cryptocurrencies don't necessarily have the best track record. You want to be extremely careful. For every, 10, maybe one is okay. So that is a big red flag in my opinion. But it says our focus is to create a cryptocurrency that is accessible to all as a global payment platform for developers, investors, and general public alike. And then it says it's aimed at offering seamless utility on public market. So it is designed to be easily integrated in several applications, including payment platforms, exchanges, and marketplaces. Here we'll get into more of it. So it says it's decentralized, says it's proof of work, and then the security relies on immutability of the blockchain. Let's see, proof of work, and there you go. So detailed technical parameters. I don't know what Evo hash is yet, so I don't know. I don't know if this is just a fork form of like fish hash. One of those, I don't know, but we'll try to find out. It says block time is 60 seconds with a total coin supply of 21 million, so similar to Bitcoin, except the block reward is starting at 25 Evo, whereas Bitcoin started at 50 BTC, and it says it's a reduced production every month. So as opposed to halving every 4 years, it's going to reduce production by 1% every month, which I suppose means that we're cutting in half how many days? It would need to be 100% every 100 days or so. Does that sound about right? Somewhere around there. Block size 2 megabytes, transaction confirmation 50 blocks, and a difficulty retarget time of 1 minute, and an algorithmic adjustment approximately every 2 weeks. So that's similar to Bitcoin. I think algorithm adjustment in general needs to be faster. Case in point was the difficulty adjustment that problem that Ergo ran into. Now that's a once in a lifetime thing, so you wouldn't expect that to happen again. Reason being, in case you guys are not aware, the Ergo blockchain almost halted after the move to proof of stake by Ethereum, as a bunch of people came off of Ethereum, threw all of their hash rate onto Ergo, and then when they realized it wasn't profitable, hopped off. So what happened is all the hash rate came on, the difficulty adjusted way up, and then because it took a long time for the difficulty to adjust back down, the chain slowed down a lot. So it's just something to think about there with that one in particular, as far as that's concerned. But there you go. As far as that is concerned, let's see if we can find out more. So, what is under download? Download does not open anything. Okay, what is in get involved? Nothing. Fun facts, and then does the Explorer open at least? Okay, so the Explorer opens. The fun facts are down here. On the Explorer, we do have a rich list. I am getting Caspa vibes here, so I'm getting Caspa Forky vibes. Let's find the GitHub and see what we can do. So if we go down, is there a GitHub link? No, there's a Discord. Where is the Linux wallet download? That just downloads it. I am not doing that. So this is just going to be a download too. Not doing that. Let's go back here. And Discord, calculator. Here's the GitHub. All right. So let's see. Real quick search. We could do CAS. I'm not seeing any references there. Okay, so it's a Bitcoin fork. And then what is the algorithm based off of then? Could you download the miner somewhere? Wallet. How to mine it. Let's go to one of the pools here. So maybe Superpool will tell us. If I say start mining, what does it open? New coin Evo. Evo hash. Okay, but where's the miner? Miner download. CPU. Evo GPU. GitHub. CUDA miner for Evo hash. So this does seem like a new algorithm. Or does it mean... No, this is CC miner. So this is in the, it's a fork of CC miner that added CUDA. What is Evo hash? Evo Pro. This is off the same GitHub. Prove Evo hash about 30 to 80%. We're in 64%. Gives you the numbers here. So this says currently a 4070 Super does 2.16 megahash a second at 130 watts. So that wouldn't be a fish hash. 4070 does 2.1 megahash at 110 watts. A 3090 does 2.7 megahash a second at 250 watts. So it will be NVIDIA only. I'm intrigued, actually. I'm not going to lie. I am definitely intrigued now. So we just got a GPU miner. When did the GPU miner come out? 5 days ago. And let's go look at the... I didn't see tokenomics. Did you guys see tokenomics anywhere? I didn't see tokenomics anywhere. We may have to get into Discord to do more. So it's definitely, so it's a fork of Bitcoin with some algorithm that I don't know what it's based off of. And then let's look at the, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. So there, oh shit. Well, that's a problem, guys. So 81% of the, yeah, that's a huge problem. Okay, so 81% of the supply is in the hands of the founding team. I mean, at least they marked it, but that's a crazy percentage. Now then, I guess the follow-up question is to that, have they been mining that? No. That looks like a Genesis block payout, doesn't it, sir? Yeah, this is a lot. And that's a Genesis block payout, isn't it? Wait, no, there's 1,500. When was this? This was on June 4th. No, it's not a pre-mine. If it was a pre-mine, so here, like, you can tell what's being mined, right? Because if we took, like, this address, for example, we're going to see block rewards at 25, right? Or smaller block rewards, right? Like this, like a few at a time or whatnot, right? The founding team's address, you'll see here, is just one big transaction sent to it. You see what I'm saying? No, so, okay. So I'm going to tell you this, son of a rabid tech. We looked at the total supply, and I'm going to tell you what it is right now, right here, 21 million. And the founding address has 10 million in it. So over 50% of the supply was pre-minted and given to the founding team. So scam, yeah. Unfortunately. So there you go. Looks like as far as Evo AI is concerned, we're looking at scammy McScammers. Unfortunately. Yeah. So. Oh, is it 1 million? Am I looking at that wrong? So 100,000. Oh, it is 1 million. Sorry. I had that wrong. Okay. I take it back. I take it back. I take it back. Okay. That's not bad. Okay. I thought it was 50%. It's 5%. Let me correct myself. You're correct, chat. Thanks for the correction, son of a rabbit tech. Still, so it's 5%. Not as bad. Not as bad. Does look like a Genesis Mint. I can't tell for sure, but if it was mined, I would have expected it to be mined. It doesn't look mined. I would have expected mining payouts, right? Unless, well, we could look at this, right? So it came from this address. Wait, AU. Total received 176,000. Total 174,000. See, this is what you would expect it to look like. If this is what this looks like, a solo node miner right there. No, I've covered cryptics plenty of times in the past. Today was just to do a WTF is Evo AI. Let me get you guys the link. Just to make sure I'm not giving you guys a bad link, I'm going to give you a safe link, and then you can go to the links beyond that out of the safety of your own browser, right? You can go to the Evo links and check it out. Sorry for calling out 50% when it's 5% and getting that number wrong, though. I think from there, I did want to cover a couple more things, though. Not crypto related. There's a new distro in town. Bazite that I've been utilizing a lot. I'm going to take this watch off because apparently the family group chat is just getting out of control. My wrist keeps going. This can't do it, dude. One of my favorite YouTubers, Gardner, Bryant, covers Linux gaming. And there's a new video covering Bazite, which is currently my favorite distribution of Linux. It's Fedora based. At least the one I've been utilizing. Fedora, I love. Obviously, they gave me a chair. Red Hat did. And they've given me headphones. I mean, I was a Linux systems administrator for quite some time. So obviously, big fan of Red Hat and all of that. And Fedora and so on. And then Bazite's a great gaming distribution. It pre-packages everything. It's what I was loading on the BC250s. And it basically is just SteamOS in a box based on Fedora. Has like out of the box support for all of the Proton stuff. All the games play day one. It's been an amazing product. So I want to see what update they were doing here.
My Pick a Linux Distro for Beginners video today, but I ran across a video from George Castro on Mastodon this morning, and boy howdy, let me tell you, it got me really excited. I wanted to give what I saw a spin for myself, so that's what I'm doing today. And let me tell you, this is cool stuff, all right? And all my excitement was not let down when I actually got my hands on this. So today I wanted to take a look at a new app store that's coming to Bazite and other Universal Blue based distros.
Okay.
It's called Bazaar, and it's a new approach to app centers. So let's talk about the Bazite experience. And first
okay, so this is going to be a new app, like a package manager, huh?
Impressions are really good. Bazaar is unlike most of the other app store experiences that you're going to find on Linux. Frankly, while I love GNOME, GNOME software is far too sterile, and it also has some surprisingly unstable behavior that I've encountered. I believe that this comes from having too many different software sources.
Yeah,
for example, being able
peaking.
to install system packages and flat packs. On the flip side, we've got the likes of the Ubuntu App Center, which is a step.
He usually has great audio, so I want to give that to him, Max. I will say Gardner typically has good audio. I'm not sure what happened in this video.
Step up from GNOME software, but the fact that it practically forces you to use the objectively inferior Snap package format makes it profoundly
not a fan of
unusable
Snap.
for me. And then we have something like KDE's Discover Store. This is what's available
what I
on the
use
Steam Deck, and
currently.
honestly, as a diehard GNOME user, this just doesn't do it for me in terms of UI
I like it. That's what I like to use. That's my preference.
or UX. Plasma simply borrows two.
That being said, command line rules them all, and I'll just use command line 9 times out of 10 for installing anything from, the repositories. Typically don't use any, GUI on Linux at all. Even installing things that will be utilized in the GUI, I still will use terminal to install it all.
Too heavily from Windows's everything's a button aesthetic, and I just find it very ugly and unintuitive to use.
Because it's faster.
Finally, there's the add remove software tool in Manjaro, and this is a more complex software manager. It supports installing every and any possible way that you could ever want to install any software on a Linux distribution, and it does so with a GTK app. I like that, but the fact is, I'm a Linux veteran. When trying to think critically from a beginner's perspective, it might not be the most intuitive thing to use in the world. And that's why I applaud what developer Kalunmi.
Yeah, you're right. Good call. So that is, I have that Rode shotgun mic. I do not know why you would use it like an SM7B like this one, which is what he's using it like, right? Which like this one's meant to come up close to your face. Those shotgun mics are not. And that's why you're getting that peaky raspiness.
And Bazite
Have a good night, Smoke.
are doing here with Bazaar. I mean, just look at this. This looks super nice.
Yeah,
According
it does.
to George, this was about a month's worth of work, and I can already see how this app store is drawing upon familiar UI and UX
I like it.
while still seeking to forge its own path.
I like how it's also gaming centric. So it has like your storefronts like Epic GOG, probably Steam in there. It has options for loading any emulators. Like right there off the bat, it's got Dolphin emulators, the Wii U emulator, all that stuff.
Now, according to George's video, Bazaar started as a brand new kind of app store for Linux desktops. Not only is it built from scratch with a singular focus on supporting Flatpaks, but it's also looking to have a curated experience and supporting developers financially as well. Now, the current build of Bazaar has a few awesome features that I want to highlight in this video. First up is curation. I mean, right off the bat, we can see these different sections here. These sections are easily defined by the maintainers of your disk.
But it's GNOME, huh? Will it be available in KDE? Because it looks like he's
In this
using
case, it's
GNOME
Bazite
here.
through YAML files that they can.
He's using the GNOME environment for Bazite, it looks like.
Just commit to their GitHub, and it affords them the ability to curate an experience for their users. For example, we have gaming here, and this is a really nice rendered image with some low poly aesthetic going on. It really evokes the feeling of gaming, especially with the DualSense controller. And we have a bunch of applications.
I will say, I haven't checked it in a while, but when I originally tried to use the DualSense in Bazite, it did not play nice. I used the Xbox controller, and then now there's a Steam OS controller. It's a third-party controller, but it has all the Steam buttons, and I really like that because you can pull up both the option menus with shortcuts on the controller, and it has backside
Here that fall under the gaming header, and most of these are games that you can install, or managers like Heroic that help you install non-Steam games on your system. There's also Retro Deck, Retro Arch, GZ Doom, but there's also emulators here like Dolphin, and there's also cartridges, which is a GTK-based emulation front end. So lots of cool stuff here, but there's also streaming and chat, which includes Discord, Pigeon, and a bunch of others. I'm surprised that OBS isn't in here.
Yeah, TeamSpeak.
Right. Then there's music and media, which includes stuff like Jellyfin, VLC, Tidal, Plex, Spotify, Office and Productivity, and more. And like I said, these headers are defined as YAML files in their Git repository, so these can be changed really quickly. And this, I believe, is really important because Bazzite is an incredible way of onboarding new users to the Linux experience and providing new users with not only first-class app management, but discovery is critical. But that's not all. Let's talk about search. The built-in search function works very well here. If we click here, we can type in whatever we'd like. So let's say OBS, for example.
Which, I mean, obviously, like, this is a big deal for onboarding Linux people to Linux right now. And that's going to be, honestly, I think is more important than anything else right now, is onboarding gamers onto Linux, getting that support, and getting competition for Microsoft. And the fact is right now, if you guys haven't noticed, like, even going through the Proton translator, lower level API translator, because Windows 11, I said Windows, because Windows 11 has been so atrocious, you're getting, even going through the translator, better performance on a lot of these newer games in Linux right now. And my primary method of playing video games right now is on my Bazzite image with my 7800 XT and a Ryzen 9 9600 or 9700 that's in my bedroom that I just have hooked up to a 4K TV. And at first, when I first started using it, I would have to like change my Proton versions, do a lot of tinkering. But lately, every new game I've installed, I haven't had to do anything but hit play and it goes. It's faster. It starts faster. It goes into sleep and recovers while being in game still. It does everything 100% better than Windows, just across the board.
And we have Obsidian.
But then, of course, like, that's why this is important, because people are going to need an easy way to find the applications they're looking for and install them, right? And right now, I would say that's a little bit more difficult to do. So while the Steam OS works great in that format for just playing games, once you get into a desktop environment for gaming, Linux becomes a little bit more difficult.
Obsidian, and we also have OBS Studio. This is more along the lines of what I was thinking. Now, on the left, we have a list of search results, and if we just remove our search here, we can see that it's basically just a singular list of all items. And if we say OBS, we could click OBS here, and now we can see the application details. On the right, we see information about the currently selected app. For example, with OBS, we see that it is free and open source software for video capturing, recording, and live streaming. And then we have up here some buttons for sharing, which brings up this window with official links.
But everybody's a content creator these days, Snake, and obviously OBS working in this right out of the bat is good. Number two, even if you don't game, like, Linux is better, just is.
We also have the install.
You need competition against Windows for a lot of different reasons, right?
Button. And then over here we have some metadata details.
It's free.
Like the application license, for example. We also have the source where this application is going to be installed from. We have the official.
But I play a lot of games.
Website, and we also see
I wholeheartedly disagree with that whole idea of like gaming's bad for you, or like this hustle culture. I used to be wrapped up in hustle culture, I won't lie. I got out of it and I am 100% happier, especially just hanging out and playing games with the kiddos or even by myself.
The total download size. But critically, we also see screenshots. Now, I don't think I can overstate how important images are in modern design. Let's click on OpenRA for a moment. And you can see here that we have many high quality screenshots, and they do a lot of the heavy lifting in order to sell the prestige of the app. And showing the app details here, you can see that we have the majority.
So SteamOS itself is based off Kali Linux, by the way. I think their official version 2 will be Kali Linux based.
For the application itself is taken up by the screenshots. If we compare that to the listing for OpenRA here in GNOME Software, you can see that they are taking up more space, but it's harder to scroll. Like this doesn't, for some reason, support the thumb wheel on my mouse, and to be fair, neither does Bazaar yet.
I will say with Linux, like the most important thing is compatible hardware. That can be extremely frustrating, and it is that type of thing where I have my peripherals and like my Bluetooth and Wi-Fi adapters that work with Linux, and those are the only ones I use, and I try not to like try new things very often.
But you have to click through or drag or something. You can't even click on these, for God's sakes. I don't know what's going on with this UX here. But I just find this to be a much improved UI over GNOME Software. As I mentioned, there's this share button here, and this gives us a modal window with a bunch of URLs that you can use to share with others. This is just another great way that Bazaar is supporting the discovery and the propagation of Linux applications here. So you also have like management built in, where if we install an application, you can see over here we're able to preview its download status as well as update status if we had any apps that needed to be updated. So yeah, I find that very neat. And you can see we've now installed Heroic. So if we click up here and say Heroic, there it is. Heroic is installed.
Yeah.
Frankly, I love this. I think this is a terrific
KDE,
update
bro.
here. I love how it ties into the system color scheme with these options. You know, there are a few nitpicks I have, but this is still like in active development. You know, small nitpicks, like I mentioned that the thumb wheel on my mouse doesn't work. Well, it doesn't work here either. I would prefer to have thumb wheel support in something like this, or even the ability to click and drag, which you can't do. I find these like buttons to just be obnoxious. And then other small things like opening up the search, and just the way that the text here is distributed with this weird jaggedness. I just don't care for how that looks. But I mean, you know, like I said, this is still in active development. Personally, I wouldn't justify
of development.
The text
it's pretty
to
good.
The extremes. I'd make this text a little
the question
grayer
is,
and have it just be.
The problem that you always run into with like the storefronts on Linux, right, is you'll go in there and you'll find something you want, and then you'll click install, and like the install button is broken for that particular application. And so then the question is like, it really comes down to a QA thing, right? And the problem with open source and QA is like, it doesn't really get done to the level of like the Microsoft Store or the App Store. Like, and if we talk about all of them, like the reason Apple, the one good thing that Apple does really well is QA for the App Store, where like everything can kind of be installed from there. If you click install, it works. Like even the Microsoft Store, you run into a lot of things where you're like, I'll install it from the Microsoft Store, and then you hit get and it just doesn't work well. And I think like open source creates that kind of problem with QA when it comes to, you know, building something like this app browser with Bazaar.
Be with like a M dash and move it
continued
to the
support
left.
Is what it needs.
But I don't know. That's just me. Now, before we move on, I do want to mention that I posted an article about
Yeah, I mean, you can say as soon as the dev leaves, the whole place goes to crap in some cases, right? And then there's other cases where I'm trying to think of a good example. I can't think of one off. There are those applications that haven't been updated in years and still just work. You know what I mean? Like, it's always something random. Like, I think like Putty and Rufus have recently been updated, but not huge overhauls. But there are those applications that just continue to work for whatever reason and never need to be updated.
About this,
but it's few and far
yesterday,
between.
as of the release of
Typically,
this video,
correct.
over on my blog, gardnerbryant.com. If you enjoy Linux and techie stuff, and you want a lot of it, just an absolute fire hose, you can head over to my blog, because I'm posting about an article a day over there, at least the weekdays. And yeah, it's super cool. I've posted a bunch of articles that people have really responded to, and you can help support the show by becoming a sustaining member over there. It's all greatly appreciated. And you can also get subscribed to stay up to date with all the fun stuff that we're doing here on the channel. You can also like that smash button if that's more your speed. And with that said, let's get right back into it. Let's talk about the future of this application, because Bazaar isn't just about providing a beautiful UX for software management on your system. There are some exciting things that George is talking about in his video, which you can check out up here. One of them, and I think the most exciting thing, really, donations. They want to include donations here. This is something that the Linux world has been talking about for over a decade at this point, and has not made a whole lot of headway. Most Linux app developers do so out of passion, and it's rare that they're able to make a living from their contributions to the free software movement. And if we want our ecosystem to grow and sustain itself, this is a challenge that we're going to have to solve. That's why Bazaar is tackling this challenge head on, but they're also talking about working with FlatHub on a way to help developers get paid on a broader, ecosystem level, rather than just having it be something that Bazite is including in Bazaar. And honestly, I think that that's smart. Given the diaspora of Linux desktops, this will only make an impact if there's some broader community-wide support that's implemented across multiple distributions. Yeah. Now, I love this idea. I fully support the work that they're doing, and I would love to see what their implementation looks like.
And there you go, to Snake's point, right, is like a lot of the reason devs disappear is because there's not a monetary value there, and they got to go make money to support their family. If there's and yes, you're dependent on people's goodwill, to a certain extent, and it's typically hard to make a living off of that. Like, it's still, there is that monetary incentive, which I think is important. And if it's on a donation basis, I think that's even better.
Looks like going forward,
as long as you
especially
make it
if it's as easy as clicking on
you put it right here,
the application, and then having a little support button here, or perhaps a floating support button,
and then tie it in with a blockchain, and then cha-ching, just send them some Bitcoin Lightning Network or something.
For the images that you could click,
connect to MetaMask
on something that really stands out and is able to help drive financial backing to some of these projects that don't receive enough. And speaking of donations to an open source project, you can donate directly to the developer of Bazaar. His name's Kalunmi, and he's independent of the Bazite project. In fact, he's just doing this, and Bazite's already starting to integrate it into their project. Over on Ko-Fi, or Coffee, however you pronounce Ko-Fi. Yeah, and he definitely deserves it, because I think this is a very cool project. There'll be a link down below. Then let's talk about search. Again, touching on that first-class app discovery experience thing. Yeah, I think that that's critical. And what they're doing here is they want to add the ability to search on the distro level. So up here, you could say OBS and have...
I mean, that's just what it is with, Windows or, Mac right now, is you have that option to search for, the application, and if it's not there, you'll get like a web link or a link to the store, and then you can install that app from there, right?
The search results suggest installing OBS through Bazaar. And frankly, unlike Windows, where those suggestions are almost universally an assault on your intelligence, here on Linux, this is a list of software that's maintained by the community, and search results are usually very relevant to your queries. And finally, they're talking about curation. And I think curation is important, especially when talking about a newcomer's experience. If this is your first time with Bazite, you might try to install Steam on your system, only to later discover that Steam is already installed. And honestly, a system-level Steam package is going to be a much better experience than the Flatpak one. That's why Bazaar will have a feature that allows the maintainers to hide certain applications. Actually, that might actually be in the application already. If we type in Steam, it does not come up with Steam. And that's good, because you don't need to install the Flatpak version of Steam on Bazite. And before some folks cry foul on how this could be used for censorship, give me an effing break, guys. George addressed this in his video. Quote, "We're not going to have a policy like, hey, I don't like this project, so I'm going to remove it. There's going to have to be some technical reasons, and we're definitely not looking to maintain any kind of moderation. Nobody wants to do any of that. All we want to do is remove the foot guns and take apps that people love and put them in front of people so that they can click a little heart and donate." All right, now that we've gone over the experience of Bazaar, I figure we should go over how you can try this out for yourself. The first thing to do is...
But you're typing that on Google right now, Snake.
To download the Bazite image from their website. Then what I did was I installed Boxes through GNOME Software. When you get Boxes opened up, you can use the plus button in the top right corner and then select the Install from File option. Then I just selected the Bazite ISO that I downloaded. I ran through the initial setup for Bazite, and once that was ready to go, I booted up the VM, and then I ran the command Bazite rollback helper rebase testing, and that moves us over to the testing branch. Note that the command will install the latest testing branch of Bazite that's available for you. So if you're looking at this even tomorrow, you're likely to install a different image than the one that I got in this video. And because Bazaar is in such rapid development, the version that I have here is different from the one that George has in his video, which was released the day before I recorded this. Now, I'm super keen on this. I think that this is one of the most exciting developments in a while in terms of software management on Linux. And Bazaar really is focusing solely on Flatpaks. It's not working with system packages at all. It's eschewing most of the...
You trust Jorge? Jorge? Yeah, I mean, the thing is like, it's an app, so it's not any different than anything else. If you're a power user, you're not going to even need to utilize that. And so I understand so there are things that Bazite does, and like SteamOS does as well, where, like, for example, you can't just delete the kernel, right? Like, it's going to prevent you from doing that stuff. Where, like, a power user is going to understand those things and not do it in the first place, and also maybe would know how to get around that to perform whatever they want. So what Gardner's really talking about here with this in particular, and I think this storefront, is really, it's giving people that are not familiar with Linux and not power users an easy way in, and a simplified manner in which to interact with different applications and software on Linux without having to be like an expert user, which I think at this point is something that really needs to be done, because the only other two options is either buy a MacBook, which gives you the license to Mac OS, or pay a Windows license. And then on top of that, it has kind of, because of the easy use of those other platforms, it has really kind of boxed everybody into utilizing like DirectX, etc. And I think, what I would like to see overall in general, right, is like more Vulkan support, stuff like that. So I am excited for this stuff because, once again, it's about onboarding people that are not necessarily power users in the first place. And then I think, like, if you are a power user and you're familiar with this, then and you don't need it, then you just don't have to use it, right? At the end of the day. But maybe if you're just wanting to play on a gaming rig and you just want a gaming rig to do whatever on, then it's a perfectly feasible option, right?
The cruft that has built up around package management over the last, 2 decades on Linux. I think that it's going to be really awesome to see what this application can do when it
Mr.
reaches
Anderson.
a stable build, because right now
give him a
this
like.
is still very early development.
But go give Gardner a
and
like.
I'm really glad that I got to
And I guess
chance
probably
to take a look at
Jorge
this.
too.
If there's anything else you guys want me to take a look at,
Hey, Coastal, welcome to the stream. We were just checking out the new Bazite stuff. I am about to end it. I was going to look at Mind's Eye because apparently it got really bad reviews. I wondered why. Poor frame rates. So it's just a Cyberpunk repeat, meaning it's not performing well. It was from the old developers of GTA. So it's supposed to kind of be like GTA, 6 before GTA 6 came out. And apparently it's performing like butt. So there you go. It is what it is. It looks cool, but they're probably playing this on like a 4090, right? And so it's running well for the demo, but you boot it up and I guess it's running like trash. Maybe we can test it at some point. But that's about it for today. I covered everything. We covered I think it was fun to follow the Prophet or whatnot and go through that. It's 8:06, so I'm going to call it. We'll be back on tomorrow night around 6 p.m. Central Standard Time with more crypto news here on this channel. Tonight, I am not going to be doing any gaming on Twitch, I don't believe, but, follow me over on twitch.tv/blindrun for any, I game a lot over there, more lately. And the thing is, not a lot of viewers. So if you want to interact with me and ask me questions and like have a more intimate experience, honestly, that's the best way to get at me and pick my brain about any topic you want to pick my brain about. So there you go. I think that's it's twitch.tv/blindrun. Of course, I'm on Kick as well, which I prefer because you guys don't have to watch as many ads, and that's at kick.com/blindrun. Please support the channel here. That goes to supporting my editor who clips everything and does the shorts and the short clips for you guys. And if you want to support me directly, go to sonofatech.locals.com. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter. I have the best ROI of any crypto mining YouTuber KOL currently, as we proved with the tools. So, if you guys want to actually get good calls, follow me on Twitter. And I'll see you next Tuesday. You might get mad. I might say your coin's not going to do good. I get it. You might get upset. Reality is, the numbers don't lie. What can I say? Numbers don't lie. I'll see you next Tuesday, boys.